Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what I think is the difference between a modern woman and a traditional woman, right? Now, again, my views are my views, right? You might be like, I don't agree. Well, that's fine, as long as we disagree with respect, right? Okay, so um, I wrote down some pointers of what the difference is. And I remember, I was talking to my daughter. She's 18. She'll soon be 19. Yeah, my last child, rather, my last daughter, and we were discussing. You need to check her out on YouTube. It's Mint, yeah, Mint, like the candy, MINT, and Yeah, short for Yahuwah, right, or Yahusha, right? And so we were talking about modern day women and the traditional women, but we were doing it, just sporadic point of views. So I decided to just make make this into a topic, right? So anyway, um, my my views are Bible based and also from my current experience, right? From my previous and current experience and, what I observe, right? Being that I was born in Jamaica, right, and partially raised there, I know what a traditional household looks like. I know what a traditional family looks like. My mom, it's a communal type home. It was like the village is has a lot to do with your upbringing, right? If you do anything wrong, somebody in the village, somebody in the community, somebody in the town is gonna they know you. Everybody knows whose grandchild, whose mother, whose son, whose, they know, right? So we we were held accountable, right? Anything that we do, we were held accountable. So if I did something, and I used to do a lot of some things, right? So if I did something wrong, then another person in the town sees and say, "Isn't that Miss White's granddaughter? Isn't that Sadie Pickney? And yes, that's Bernie, or whatever, and they would point me out. They were able to spank me, right? They were able to spank me. They were able to spank me on my butt and go home and send me home. They were able to do that. So the traditional family that I grew up in Jamaica, that I was partially raised in Jamaica, it was that type of setting. It takes a village type of setting. I know some of you miss that, right? And I know some of you are like, whoa, thank yeah, that's over. So I wrote, being that I was born and partially raised in Jamaica from the 60s, right? It's a different era from a lot of you people. And when I say you people, I mean I realize that I have a younger audience than I thought. Um, so yeah, I know what a traditional woman looks like, right? Now, being raised in this country for over 4 decades and some, I realize and understand the difference between the traditional woman and the modern woman. Not to say that I didn't experience traditional women here in this country. Oh boy, yes, I have. Okay, I have. Um, so traditional women are usually conservative, They're more conservative in how they think, how they dress, how they carry themselves, right? Most traditional women base their lives off of religious beliefs, right? They mostly think either Bible based, or if they're Muslim, they think of, their Quran. They go back to the nitty gritty of their ancestors, or what they think their ancestors, were like, or their elders, what was passed on to them culturally, right? Um, Traditional women are family oriented. It's about family for them, right? Uh, the way they dress, and the accountability that they give to themselves. Okay, I can't dress like this because if my mom sees me, and we're not talking about teenagers, we're talking about people in their 30s and 40s and up. Okay, my auntie, my cousin is gonna see me. Oh no, you know. So I remember my cousin, he used to, before he relocated to Jamaica, he used to have dreadlocks. And back in the days, believe it or not, that was not the thing, nicely putting it. It was not acceptable, right? It was considered that if you were a Rastafarian back in the days in Jamaica, you were of lower class society in the sense of how you carry yourselves and stuff. It was all fables. It was just them being scared of what they didn't know and didn't understand. And what he used to do, he had the side shaved off, and then he would bundle it and put it in a hat. And when he puts it in a hat, my grandparents would know. He thought. So one day when he was leaving, after doing it a couple of times, coming from America, going to Jamaica, did it a couple of times. So my grandfather said, "So when are you gonna cut that locks?" Surprised him. He did not know that my grandfather figured it out. So yeah, we how we dress, we hold ourselves accountable, right? Um, okay, so we're family oriented, and we hold ourselves accountable even as the way we are dressed, right? Do, 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 do. And so, oh yes, our core values are usually very deep seated in the values of what was handed down to us by our elders in the community, right? They have a strong sense of community, so their issues are resolved in a more communal manner, right? You have to talk to your auntie, your grandmother, your grandfather, your cousins, and your older cousins. It's more of a communal type of thing, right? It's not just it's not just you. Okay, it's not all about you. Let's hear what the other family members have to say about this. Um, the modern women now, they live in the current, they live in the now. They question, challenge, and defy traditional mindset and lifestyle. Their dressing is based upon how they feel, and not so much of the societal or communal respect, right? They don't look at it like, okay, some of these modern women, when they go to church, they dress the way that they want to dress, not necessarily like, is this an appropriate style of dressing, right? They don't care about what's appropriate, right? Now, when with the modern women, they dress, okay, this is covered, that is covered, okay, this isn't too short, this is too this is too that. They think communal, right? They have that respect of community, right? What is society, what is acceptable in society, right? Modern day women, if they want to go in a tight jeans and showing their booty sticking up, like, they don't care. Back in the days, I know in Jamaica, in Methodist church, there's this lady named Miss Carol. Ooh, child, in Falmouth, Trelawney. Hello. That lady used to walk around with a stick in church, and beat you if you even look like you're going to hold a conversation. Even if you're going to say, huh, she would spank you. When I came to America and I started going to church and growing up, maybe around in my teens, or yeah, I think I started going to church here. No, not in my teens. I'm lying. I started going to church here in my 20s. It was years after I've been here. And these church mothers, what they used to do is, if your skirt was too short, if they thought communally, they thought that your skirt was too short, it was not acceptable, it was not appropriate to them. See, this is traditional women. If they thought that it was not acceptable, they would do is take this white sheet and come on, come here, baby, come here, honey, and wrap you up in that white sheet and sit you in the back row. Okay, there was nothing you could say about it. Nobody was looking at it like you're supposed to be embarrassed and you go protest and you go on social media. None of that. It was acceptable. It was the norm. You just needed to respect it, right? Today's women, modern women, however they feel, they do and dress. Um, okay, so they seldom believe in gender roles, and their sense of family isn't based on a specific criteria or creed, right? So, traditional women, if they want to marry another woman and start a family, they do that. Um, a traditional woman believes that a family should be started by multiplying of a male and a female, right? Not multiplying by you going out there and getting a sperm donor and, you know, injected in you, and then voila, you're pregnant, and then, okay, we're both mommies. Which one is the daddy? So, um, if that works for you, hey, knock yourself out. But a traditional woman says, hey, I believe in marriage, and I believe marriage is between a born male and a born female. Okay, now some people think that you can do both at the same time. Personally, I don't know. If you can mix water and vinegar together, the oil and vinegar together, then maybe. But in some essence, I think you can, right? Um, you can still be a traditional woman who respects the present, right? For example, a modern day couple with a newborn will say whoever makes the most money goes back to work, the other stays home. So if the wife makes more than the husband, he stays home and lovingly cares for his kids. His wife and his overall home slash family, well, they can do that, right? Pretty much, right? If that's how they agree on, that's okay. Which, I think that personally, I think that a traditional family can do the same as well if it works for them, right? Sometimes the men and their ego gets in the way, and oh, let me do the job and let me go out there and work, and but I don't know if that's in the Bible, but I've not seen it. So if it is and anybody sees it, please let me know. Um, yeah, so you can still do that, but the modern day women are independent of men. Now, don't get me wrong; traditional women are independent of men as well, but only sometimes. Specifically, what I'm speaking of is not just financial. Okay, they're independent of men. I don't need a man. Da, 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 da. Well, a traditional woman prefers, not that she has to have one or needs one, but she prefers to have a good husband at home, help her raising her children, and both of them, combine their income or however they do it, whatever is right for them, and they raise their children um, according to the admonishment of their traditional beliefs, right? Um, you can be an independent woman who makes your own money and still have respect for your husband and for both your roles, because modern day women don't necessarily respect uh, their male counterpart roles. Modern day women like to play both roles, and that's impossible. Okay. Now, most men are simply tired of modern day women. I'm not talking about any other race except, for the lack of better choice of words, black women and brown women. That's who I'm talking to. Okay. And when I say brown women, I can mean some Asian countries and also Hispanics, right? And the typical black people from the African diaspora, whether we're scattered all over the world or, including the Caribbean or wherever, right? Um, a traditional woman is usually let me go back. The modern women tend to be very cocky, insolent, and high-minded, and I'm pretty sure you see that almost every day on social media. Oh, I don't need a man. Ah, da, 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 da. Nah, I'm not saying that you need a man, because I don't need a man as long as I have Yahuwah. But I would prefer to have a good husband. That's not how modern day women think. Okay. Um, a traditional woman is usually very attractive to these to men who are tired of modern day women, right? Yeah, no joke. Um, Traditional women are more feminine. They're more nurturing, caring, and they're consistent in their love and patience for their family structure. They're very consistent in demanding that respect that they know they can give. Modern day women love to demand respect but cannot give it. They think because they're women, they should get the respect automatically instead of saying, hey, I'm going to earn it. I'm a woman, I'm feminine, I'm female, I got something that you don't have. Okay. Um, Traditional women are more stable because of their sense of community, right? They are very committed to what they believe, their stance. And because of their stance, from the traditional background and holding themselves accountable, um, they're more stable. You know, women who do not hold themselves accountable, they don't care. They don't care what you think. They live in pleasure. They live for the day. They live for the moment. They live for the hype. They don't care. Okay. Whatever feels good to them, they do it. Um, Modern day women always think that the grass is greener on the other side and barely fight for their family, right? So the family structure is seldom strong. She's always thinking that there's someone else out there better than what she has. She doesn't fight for it because she's thinking that she's independent, she's hot, she's free minded or whatever, however she calls it, all of that, right? So she's like, next, bye. Meanwhile, right, okay. So so the family structure is seldom strong. But the traditional woman knows that if the husband is fighting for us, then she's going to fight for her family. So a traditional woman will look at her husband and say, it is Me and you, or proper English, you and I and Yah against the world, right? Modern day women think that their money, their education, their Gucci bag, their Louis Vuitton, they think that is enough for them. When they take the car, the car, hey, I got a this, I got a that, whatever expensive cars out there, I don't know. Um, so yes, um, the most modern women are barely industrious. Don't come at me. It's true. Traditional women take pride, or should I say, take dignity in them cleaning their own homes, right? Now, that is true. Some of them, I've seen some traditional women or business women, and they will take off, like, okay, some of them, they're not Sabbath keepers like me, but they will take their Saturdays and boom, their Saturday is for them cleaning their houses, right? Some of them are Sabbath keepers and they'll take their Sundays and do their cleaning, right? Themselves, even though they have the money to do it, right? Because they were raised that way. They want to do it themselves because, you know, I can have somebody come and clean my house. But honestly, the way that I am and the way that I was brought up, I would have to sit and train that person how I like things done. You understand? So, but then again, who has time for that right now? Okay. So, no matter how much money they have, yes, they'll put in the sweat in getting the cleaning done for themselves. Um, then you have modern women are more dominating in the work field because they think they have to compete with men. In some instances, they have to. I understand that. It's rough out there, right? But not at the cost of losing your femininity. Something that cannot be duplicated, something that sets you apart from the born male gender, right? Your femininity, your feminine essence. A man cannot duplicate that. I don't care how good he is at saying he's a trans what, trans who. That's something that you don't, nobody had to teach you how to that. You didn't have to watch your mom be a lady for you to know how to be a lady, right? Now, little traits, how to sit with your clothes folded under your tush, and when your clothes is a little bit above your knee, your legs are crossed at the bottom, so your legs are closed. Those little things, yes. But your feminine essence, why are you giving that away? That's something that a man cannot attain because he wasn't born with it. I don't care how much he acts like a female. He doesn't have that essence. Um, so yes, it cannot be duplicated, right? Now, something that innately makes you different from them, do not give it away, right? Real men want tenderness from a woman. They want, when they're off their game, she can have his back with with her feminine energy. You can tell your man to get out of his funk without him feeling like he's hanging with his boys, right? You don't want, when you're talking to your husband or your man, and he feels like, dang baby, sound like you sound like Peter and them. No, you want to use your now. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you got to be like, man, what the heck you thinking? Get with it. Wake up. Snap out of it. Sometimes you got to do that. But for the most part, you need your husband, your man needs that feminine energy, that essence that only you can give, right? You are a female. You don't want to walk in your masculine energy, because if you walk in your masculine energy, that's going to be a turn off. I talk to some women and they're like, um He can't stand when I know how to do everything. You can go on YouTube and learn how to. No, honey. A traditional woman has more sense to know that, yeah, I know how to fix this and fix that. But she's smart enough to know, you know what? My husband don't want to live with another dude. So she go, honey, can you please do it? And if she talks like to him like three, four times and he doesn't do it, then okay. When he leaves the house, then she can be, what that Mr. Fix It, right? And just say, hey, tell him I went on YouTube. He can't say you're operating in your masculine energy at that time because you did ask him a couple of times. And for wisdom's sake, honestly, if it's not that important, leave it alone. Even if it takes 3 months, as long as it's not that important, leave it alone. Let him do it. If it's something of dire importance, then yeah, let him let then you can put on your construction hat when he's not there and do it, right? So there's a difference between the feminine energy and the masculine energy. I mean, yeah. And also the modern women and um let's go to Zephaniah. Let's go to Zephaniah 8. We're going to talk about how to dress. Now, I have a friend named Marsha. Hey, Marsha. She and I, a couple of years ago, she probably won't remember this, but I never forgot. We were talking about, the dressing, the attire of women of faith, right? And one of the things that we were talking about is that we don't want to look frumpy. We like style, we like fashion, but now we're in the faith and we still want to look good. How do we do that? And I said to her, you know what? One day we're going to go to Jamaica and we're going to just have a fashion show for, sisters in faith. And we were just discussing it, lightly, but having fun with it. And so maybe that's something that we can do again, right, Marsha? All right, let's go to the book of Zephaniah. Da, 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 da. Zephaniah 1, verse 8. Okay. All right. And it shall come to pass in the day of Yahuwah's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children and all such as are clothed in strange apparel. Yahuwah does not want us, his set apart people, his chosen, the Israelites. He does not want, even the strangers, the Gentiles, he does not want us to dress like the strangers, like the heathens out there, the foreigners. Okay? We are in the world, but we are not of the world. He says he's going to punish us. So when you're walking around with your pants sagging, and that just doesn't go for men alone, it goes for women. When you're walking around showing your navel and your booty cheeks and all of that, he's going to punish you for that. I didn't say it. Okay? We have to be careful in how we dress. I remember, boy, I don't know. I got so many stories about my mom. I remember when I was a little girl. Well, no, I wasn't a little girl. I was in my 20s and I went to Jamaica. And my mom was the second to senior collector of taxes in Jamaica for the western part of Jamaica, right? So that's collector of taxes. That's like IRS, Jamaican IRS. So it was a big thing. And she was there and in the office in St. Anne's Bay. And I went there to look for her in Falmouth, but she wasn't there. So I went to Thingham, to St. Anne's Bay. I was dressed, I never forgot. I was dressed in this kind of baby blue jean shorts and some nice wedges, kind of high. I used to love high shoes, high heels, and a nice tank top, right? With a big white shirt. You know, back in the days when the big white shirt, you know, the boyfriend t-shirt, boyfriend shirts. Yeah. And my pocketbook. And I thought I looked stunning. So I went there and they called my mom. I said, I'd like to speak with Mrs. And I called her name and they were like, and who are you? I said, this is her daughter. They're like, because remember, they don't know me in St. Anne's. So anyway, she came out. Haven't seen my mom in months, right? Probably over a year. And she looked at me, and before she was smiling, and then she looked down on my legs and she was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, wow, hi to you too. And she was like, what are you doing here? And I said, Mom, I'm on vacation. I came to say hi, and that's how you greeting me. She said, why all your legs are showing? Why I see so much of your legs? I'm like, seriously? You haven't seen me in so long? And this is like, she's like, no, get out of my office. Now, it wasn't a booty cheek shorts or what they call it, poom poom shorts. It wasn't that. Okay. It was short, but it wasn't short, like short. And my mom is still a very traditional person. She was not accepting that I'm supposed to come into her office, meet her friends. Like, remember, I told you, communal, societal, right? Accountability, right? Now, if I did that in the house, that's different. If I did that around the yard, it's different, but communal. So I did that around her friends, and that to her was terribly embarrassing, right? So we have to take accountable of ourselves, how we dress, the men, the women, and the children, because a lot of us women, and I say us as in not me, but because I don't play that, but us as in because I'm a female, we tend to dress our children, ladies, put this in check. You dress your children as if you overly sexualize your children. Why is a little girl dressing as if she is a teenager or she's in her 20s? Just what? To say she's hot? A little chubby, cute little 3-year old. Why is she in exposing her belly and her back? And why is she in a booty shorts, a pum pum shorts, a Daisy Duke? Why? So the boys, my son used to do that. Oh my gosh, I hated it so much. I was so I was so ashamed. He used to wear his pants down at his butt. For what? For what? You know? So we have to be careful how we dress because we will be held accountable for it. We have to dress kingly and like queens, you know. So in closing, we have to seek after holiness because as the word says, holiness without which no man shall see Yahuwah. So let us consider today, right now. Are you a traditional woman? Are you a modern woman? Are you a little bit of both? Because remember, you can't really mix them that much. There's a thin line. Certain things you'll do for modern way, in a modern way, but for the most part, I am a traditional woman. I don't like certain things. I'm not a prude. I don't frown upon certain things. Your thing is your thing, right? Like we would say in Jamaica, your thing are your thing, my thing are my thing, right? So your thing is your thing, my thing is my thing. I'm a traditional woman and I'm proud of it. And I wish we could go back to that because that is the essence of true family standard, true biblical family standards. Okay. Thanks again for watching. Shalom.